Live with CDP, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast live on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Anchor FM. Now here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP Sports Podcast on this Thursday, August 4th, 2022, Season 4, Episode 17. I was supposed to do a podcast at 4 today with my guest, Billie Holiday, but she had to reschedule due to her dog being sick. So I'm hoping to have Billie Holiday on next week on Live with CDP podcast. So anyways, I'm looking forward to my show coming up. Tonight I have my guest is Myles Copeland. He's a center with the Basketball League's Toledo Glass City, and he's also a full-time firefighter in the city of Toledo as well. And we're going to talk to him about his basketball career and some of his firefighting job. And this year in the playoffs, I believe in June in Jamestown, he helped save the life of on-duty game official John Schooley, I believe, in Jamestown, New York, with CPR and stuff like that through his firefighter training as well. So just bear with me, guys, and I will bring on Myles Copeland, and we're gonna talk a little hoops and some firefighting stuff with him. Just one second. Hi, Myles. How you doing, buddy?
I'm pretty good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. You're my third guy from the Glass City coming on.
Awesome.
I had Coach Freddie Zomaya on twice and the MVP Chris Darrington on as well.
Okay. Yeah, both great guys.
Good guys. Yes, definitely, Chris. So I'm hoping, and I'm just glad you were able to come on and maybe talk a little hoops and some of your firefighting job that you do as well in Toledo.
Of course, yeah.
So I was going to say, obviously you're a basketball fan too. So who do you like in the NBA?
NBA, I'm just have to stay local and go with the Cavs out of Cleveland.
Cleveland. Okay, I was hoping you'd say the Pistons, but
the Pistons. Okay. I mean, we about split the distance there, so I could go either way. But I like staying in Ohio.
That's true too. You're probably about the same distance from Cleveland as to Detroit, but I think the Cavaliers are on the right way, going on the way up with some of their young rookies, including Mobley. And I think the Pistons now with Cade Cunningham and Killian Hayes and they got a couple other guys, Jalen Ivey and Jalen Duran. I think the Pistons are going to be much more competitive next year. Not sure the Pistons are quite ready for the playoffs yet, but I think the Cavaliers are going to be in the 6, 7, or 8 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting season. It's always hard to tell early on who's going to make it all the way through.
I was going to say, you just finished your first season in the basketball league. What kind of an experience was that?
For me, it was a really cool experience. Just being able to have the experience of playing professional basketball. I know a lot of the guys we played are from Toledo, so we played around against each other. And actually, Caleb Vaughn was on the team with me. We graduated the same year from high school, so it was kind of cool. We all went away for college, and then we were able to come back to Toledo and kind of build this team for the first year in the league. And we actually did really well. Had a lot of talent, and that kind of showcases what can all come from Toledo.
I was going to say, you guys went 16-8 in the regular season in the upper Midwest division. And then in the playoffs, you beat Lansing in 2, Jamestown in the full 3 games. And then, unfortunately, you lost to Kokomo in the conference finals in 2 games. But I think overall, from looking at your stats and stuff, you guys had a very successful season. And I think in that series against Kokomo, you guys were down guys too, especially Dave Zamoa. He was one of the guys that was out with injuries.
Yep. I think we only had like 7 or 8 players left for that Kokomo series. Some of our players got hurt in the previous series, and we had some trouble with getting players that we added on too late to the team eligible for playoffs. But we did what we could and we made it that far, so we just got to be proud of that.
I got to be honest, I was really hoping you guys would beat Kokomo because I wanted you guys to take on the Albany Platoons because I've befriended their broadcaster, Maurice Jacks, a really good broadcaster, and she loves TBL. And I've also befriended their head coach, Will Brown, on Twitter. So I was really hoping to see an Albany Toledo matchup, but hopefully next year. And I was going to say, were you able to watch some of that TBL finals between Shreveport and Albany?
I didn't get the chance to watch that. I kind of, I'll be honest, I kind of just disconnected after after we lost. So I was just focused on my career, and then moving forward, I wasn't too focused on any other teams.
That's understandable too. I've become a fan of your league through being a part of the National Basketball League of Canada. My friend Aaron Sanders, who's a longtime voice of the Windsor Express, I think you guys played this year too. He set me up with the commissioner Audley Stevens and Stevenson, and I got to do coaches interviews and player interviews on Zoom after the games. And the one night, London Lightning were taking on the Albany Batoons, and I was really impressed with the broadcast from the TBL point of view and the play. And I started watching the Batoons games and your games, and now I'm a huge fan of the basketball league of in the States, and I'm so excited that they've signed a 10-year deal with the National Basketball League of Canada as well.
Yeah, that's an exciting sign on there for the All-Star game and whatnot. Yeah, the league is really good. It's got a lot of great talent, and every team has a broadcast, so it's really accessible online. It gives a lot of opportunities for guys who don't play the game or into broadcasting as well. So it's a great league, just for getting people out there and giving people the time of day that they need.
And I was going to say, there's, I think, 6 divisions and 42 teams. The National Basketball League of Canada used to have 12 teams, but the pandemic really hurt the league for the last 2 years, and they're down to 4 teams. So I'm hoping this year they'll get a couple more expansion teams to get back to 6, and then eventually 8 and 10. I don't think they'll ever get to 42 teams like you guys, but I just think it's a great arrangement, and I've seen enough of both of your leagues, and I'm excited about it as well. And hopefully Toledo will come to London or Kitchener Waterloo next year.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll have to get that in the works if we can make that happen. But that'd be really exciting to have happen.
And you know what? The Kitchener Waterloo Titans, they lost the NBL finals to London in 3 games, but they could probably relate with you guys. They were playing that series without 4 players, 2 starters and 2 key bench players, and they were only going with, I think, 6 or 7 guys against a very good London team. And London might have swept them in 3 games, but 2 out of the 3 games came down to the last second, last shot.
Oh man, that's probably one of the worst ways to lose if it's the last second shot.
Yeah, in this game, they lost on a free throw. They missed a free throw to tie the game up with zero point 0.7 seconds left. Then Kitchener Waterloo had a chance to get a winning shot, but London blocked it. So it was just free throws. That's another thing about the game of basketball too. Free throws, everybody's like, it's okay if you miss a few, but sometimes at the end of the game, they can come back to haunt you.
Yeah, you can live and die by the free throw line. Um, that's why made a lot of my points in college. I was really good at drawing fouls, so I got to the line and was able to finish there.
Hey, before I get into questions, I got to ask you, why number 9?
Because we only had numbers 1 through 12. So I just had to pick a basically jersey that fit, and it was like between 3 numbers, and the other 2 numbers were taken before I could pick, so I just ended up with number 9.
Okay, because I always find when I ask athletes who come on my podcast, there's always a story behind why they took a certain number. So that's why I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, there's not really a cool story behind my number. It's just kind of what I ended up with. So
Okay, I like number 9 because Gordie Howe, who played hockey, the late Gordie Howe, he wore number 9, and it's a good number to have as well. So. Okay, I'm just going to get into some questions. Myles, I'm in a city called Guelph, which is like an hour from Toronto and a couple hours from Detroit and Buffalo. Can you just tell my audience here just a little bit about yourself?
yeah, so I'm a Toledo native. Toledo is about an hour south of Detroit. Um, I grew up here all my life. I went to high school at a all guys Catholic school called St. John's Jesuit. Then I went out to play in college. I played at Trine University. I ended up with a bachelor's in biochemistry. My whole focus behind that is I also grew up with type 1 diabetes since I was 7. So kind of managing that throughout my life and playing sports. I've kind of struggled with it, but I've became uh, a lot better with it and have a method down now. I feel like I can help a lot more people. So that's why I wanted to get into biochemistry, try and get out and research and kind of help develop a cure, so other people don't have to go through what I went through growing up. So I get out of college. It's during COVID. Kind of struggled to find a job and exactly what I wanted to do. So I look for other avenues, and firefighting just falls in my lap. Basically, it comes across my screen, and I just fall in love with it instantly. I can still help people with diabetes just in a different light, and I can also be there for my community. I was always active in my community. I like being a positive influence for other people. I find that it helps a lot. Um, and then with the Glass City basketball, my former teammate Caleb Vaughn, we graduated in the same class of high school, and then we went away for college and came back with the other guys on the team to form this new team. It's the second year being a team, the first year in the TBL. So most of the guys were from Toledo, and we grew up playing against each other. So to be able to come back to Toledo with all the guys that grew up here and introduce this team as kind of a positive light in the direction of Toledo and have a basketball program going is really cool. So that's kind of my story there.
Okay, no, that was great. I was gonna say, what was it like playing basketball in your hometown of Toledo? Were you a little bit nervous your first game?
No, I wasn't nervous at all. It felt like being back home. Nothing felt out of place. I knew people in the stands. People were excited to come back and watch what what I from what they remember in high school and see how we progressed. So it was a really cool experience just to be back in Toledo and playing.
I was gonna say, do you have plans to come back to the Glass City this year?
Honestly, this year I don't know if I'll have time. With my career, I'm actually starting to go back in school in January. So beside between firefighting and also going to school, if
That's
I
a
add
lot.
basketball in there, it's really a lot to handle. So possibly the year after that. But this year I'm kind of focusing on progressing my career. Um, but basketball was it was a really good experience just to have, and I'm happy to say that I was able to play professional at least for 1 year in my life.
I was gonna say, and it's important to find your passion. Like when I was your age, I liked sports, but they didn't have this technology back then in the '90s. So I just kind of like did jobs for money and stuff like that. But now I've kind of I found a passion in my podcasting, which means I'm trying to get into radio. And I think that's great that you found something that you have a passion for. And sometimes you find it earlier in life, in your case, and sometimes a little bit later in life, like me, who's now 50 years old.
Yeah, right. But it's always important just to have a passion that you're able to chase, no matter what age you're able to find it at. Um,
Eh,
Originally, when I was trying out for the basketball team, I didn't know if I was going to be able to balance firefighting and basketball. But luckily, I was able to work out something with the coach. I only made it
Good
probably
guy.
about 50% of the games, but when I was there, I was able to help and do my part. Um, so I'm really glad that they made that adjustment and for me to be able to balance both of my passions.
Okay. This leads to my next question. Did you have a mentor when you were starting your career up as a basketball player? And did you have somebody mentor you when you became a firefighter in Toledo when you were beginning?
Um, I I think one of my biggest mentors would probably just be the my coaches throughout the years. Um, no no one specific. Just everyone's had like an influence on me. So I kind of just like to take what's given from other people, pull out the best parts, and use it for myself. So I think it's really important just to have a good people around you, just to make you better.
Okay, when you became a firefighter, did you have somebody, one of the guys, kind of take you under the wing too?
No, it was I actually didn't know anyone on the department. I didn't know anything about it. Um, so I went through the whole hiring process without knowing anyone. And somehow they liked me enough and they hired me. But once I got onto the job, there were some officers that were able to take me under their wing and give me some more extensive training, tell me what it's about. Um, so I think that's really cool. It's like a brotherhood. Everyone's there for each other. Everyone looks out for each other.
Awesome. That's just absolutely awesome. Okay. And then this question I think you already answered, but how did you end up with the Toledo Glass City again? And what was the experience been like overall?
Yeah, so I ended up with them. I heard about tryouts from my former teammate in high school, Caleb Vaughn, who was on the team. So I went out to tryouts, ended up knowing a lot of people already on the team, um, and uh, the coaches ended up liking me. So I, I started showing up for practices and just working out with the team. Um, but the experience was unlike any other. It's like um, just joining the whole team atmosphere again, which I started to miss after college and having that um, college basketball career for me. Just to be back in that environment was a big step for me.
And have you always played center in basketball, or was it a new position for you this year?
No, I've always played like center forward, banged it up in the paint, take to the rim. I think in college I shot two threes in my whole career and I missed them both. So I made my money on mid range and getting to the basket.
Everybody's got their style. Like I said, I still miss the. I just find the game has changed a lot in my 50 years, speaking until the 80s. And really, it wasn't until maybe the mid 90s where guys started taking threes more and more. And now it's like almost half the shots in an NBA game are 3-point shots. I miss guys driving to the paint and slam dunking and layups and stuff like that. I guess
Yeah,
old school
getting
basketball.
physical, beating each other up.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm a Bad Boys fan. I told Freddie this. I'm a Pistons fan from the '80s with Isaiah Thomas and Bill Laimbeer. And what I liked about Bill Laimbeer, everybody's like, "Oh, he's a dirty player." He was a center for them, but he was also he was very talented. He could hit the threes, and he could do a lot of things as well. And to me, a center is very important on a basketball team.
Yeah, they're crucial, and I think they're underlooked a lot. Um, just having that presence in the paint can make a really big difference, even on like 3-point shooters. If you're focused on someone in the paint, you're gonna take a step in, kind of help in the paint.
Was there a center in the NBA that you kind of tried to model your game after?
No, I didn't have anyone that I really looked up to.
Okay. Thought I'd ask anyways. Um, this one I was going to ask you, what were your overall thoughts of this 2022 season with the Toledo Glass City and the regular season and playoffs overall?
I thought we did really good. Especially for being our first year as a team. And we had to work a lot of stuff out with like administration and different coaches, different owners, playing at different places, trying to just get support with the community. But as the season progressed, we slowly got everything together, and by the playoffs, I think we were the best we could be. Um, and then a little bit farther in the playoffs, we started to lose players due to injuries. So that kind of set us back. But um, overall, I think it was a really good start for the team.
I was going to say, and that leads to my next question. What were your overall thoughts on the coaching staff and head coach Freddie Zamora?
I thought he did a good job. He did the best he could at keeping us together, running the team, um, trying to run the offense, and get guys' heads in the right place when they're um, kind of frustrated or whatnot. So I'm happy with him.
I was going to say, and his brother Dave's on the team as well, right?
Yeah, Dave was
Nice.
added later in the season, but yeah, he was a good addition. He's a fun guy to be around, positive influence for the team, and a smart player.
Were there a couple players or one player that you hung around with when you had free time?
Um, we kind of just hung around as a team. I
Team.
didn't have anyone specific that I hang around now.
Yeah. I was going to say, what are your thoughts on Chris Darrington? Do you think he can be in the GBL or the G League and possibly the NBA one day?
I think he has a great shot at that. He works hard and continues to work hard. Um, he's staying with his workouts during the summer and getting better. So he already started off strong, and if he's just getting better from here, I don't see an end to it. I played with him in high school as well. He was in the same class as me. Um, so to see him grow from high school to where he is now to where he's going, I think he can make it all the way there.
And I liked hearing his story too, because I think there was a point where he was almost ready to give up on it, and thankfully he didn't. And now he had a great season with you guys, and hopefully gets an opportunity in the G League and the NBA in the future as well. I just love hearing stories like his and yours as well, and everybody that comes on my show.
Yeah, it's kind of like a underdog story. Like he was gonna give up, and then he found our team, and we convinced him to play, and then he just out the gate was a great player and has all these accolades now, and he's just on to becoming better, and he got the opportunity he needed.
And there I have to admit there's days where I kind of feel like giving up, but then when I keep doing these podcast shows with my guests, that keeps me motivated. And yeah, you should never give up. If there's something you really want to do, you should just continue to do it. And sometimes you're going to get failures and rejections, but you got to keep moving forward.
Right. Just the failures and rejections is all just part of the process. You just got to learn from there.
Definitely.
Take what you learn and move forward.
Definitely. Now, I've got a bit of a video clip of that game against Jamestown. Is it okay if I play a couple minutes of that clip with you doing CPR
Yeah,
on
go
the
ahead.
referee? If
Go
that's
ahead.
okay, just so we can explain to my audience and how important having, even if you're not a firefighter or a police officer, how important it is to have first aid or CPR because you just never know when you need it. Okay, one sec. I'm just going to play this clip. I'm going to turn the audio down, and then maybe you can just do a little play-by-play of what
Last
happened.
weekend,
Okay.
performing a successful
Okay, I just turned down the volume, and I think we're good. Okay. Yeah, I guess this is where you came in here.
Yeah. I was on the bench on the other side of the court at that time that he would went down. So I see him go down, and I just some something takes over me, and I don't even think. I just start running over towards him, and I get to him and start assessing him. He didn't have a pulse, so instantly I just know we got to start CPR, keep his heart beating. So yeah, if you see him fall down there, and I just get up from the bench, kind of see.
Yeah, pretty scary. It happened so quickly and stuff like that. The referee's name, I guess, was John Scully.
Yes, that's correct. Um,
Yes.
and like a big component of this is just keeping a level-headed mind, and not letting emotions take you over or anything surrounding the scene. So I was just completely focused on John at this moment and what we needed to do to kind of fix the problem, as to say.
I was gonna say, I was reading up on this. I guess it took you kept doing CPR for over 10 minutes, and I have first aid CPR as well, and sometimes we do these training sessions where you do 2 minutes at a time, and that's tiring. I can't imagine doing it over 10 minutes. And you were by your. Did anybody assist you on this?
For about the last rep of like 2 minutes, I think his wife, who was a nurse, kind of stepped in after she got herself together. But I mean, I was tired after that. Like you said, after 2 minutes, you're real tired. But I was already ready for the game, so I was in the mindset of just needing to work hard. And then also, I've had practice doing CPR almost every day at work, so that kind of plays into the conditioning for that as well.
I was gonna say, I was reading a story, and I don't know if this is accurate or not. It took the paramedics 25 minutes to get there on scene.
I think it was more about
10. Okay.
probably 10 to 12. Just from that's why like bystander CPR can be so important. Just because by the time you assess the situation and get to know what's going on, and then call 911, it has to go through dispatch. Dispatch has to tone out the station. They have to get to the rig, start the engine, drive to the scene, park, get all their bags, and walk in. By that time, I mean, even if they move quick, it could be 10 minutes like it was. So that 10 minutes can be crucial with saving the brain function or even the life.
I was gonna say, yeah, and you want to get on it right away. And like you said, just doing it for even 2 or 3 minutes during a first aid CPR training course is tiring. And I imagine you were pretty physically and mentally exhausted after that 10 minutes.
Yeah, physically, I was exhausted. Luckily, they gave us some time to recover in the locker room, and kind of get ourselves together before we had to warm up and go out and finish the game. Um, but yeah, that was definitely, it took a toll on me.
Was there ever any talk of maybe rescheduling, postponing the game?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know exactly what the refs and um, the staff there talked about, but whatever they came up with, they just said we have 10 minutes to warm up and we're just gonna finish the game right where it left off. So just had to go out and do it.
How hard was that physically and mentally for you to get your mindset back into playing basketball after what happened there?
Honestly, it wasn't hard at all. I kind of just being able to take like traumatic situations with the job and move on to the next thing um, is kind of what you're taught to do, what you have to do. So honestly, none of this really even was processed through my mind of like what really happened, and the extent of it until after the game was done.
Did they give you any updates after the game on John Scully, the referee?
Yeah, after the game, well, his condition improved dramatically. By the time we even loaded him on the stretcher, he was actually talking and his eyes were open. So he came back around before the ambulance left. So I took that as a positive sign. And then later that night, they kind of told me what happened, said he was stable, um, said he just needs surgery to fix what happened.
Okay. Next question. What was it like knowing that you helped save John's life with your CPR training as a full-time firefighter in Toledo, and also getting some recognition from TV and radio stations in the States and even ESPN as well?
I At first it was a little bit overwhelming with all the media coming at me, but I just took it and kind of ran with it as a a way to just, like kind of shed light on the importance of CPR, so we can get out in the community and the nation, um, and try and help people save more lives. I know heart disease is like one of the leading causes of death, and CPR can be a big factor in um, how well they do after experiencing a heart attack. Um, so being able to get this message out and tell people to learn CPR so more people in the community are able to help in those situations and know what to do. Um, it's really makes me happy that I'm able to have that kind of influence.
I was gonna say, and you don't have to be a police officer, a firefighter, or a first liner to do this. I think it's important for anybody to have it because you just never know when you're gonna do it. And my former job, I've had two people where one had a heart attack and one had a stroke, and I was able to help save their lives as well.
Right. And I think saving someone's life is one of the best awards you could get. Like you can get all these accolades from everywhere, but just the fact that I was able to have an influence and be able to save his life, not only for just him, but the people around him, his family, his wife, his friends, that they still have John in their life. That's one of the best awards that I could ever receive.
And it just puts sports as much as we love sports, it just puts it into perspective. It's just a game, and what you did. That's why another reason I wanted to have you on here is not just because you're a basketball player, but because of your story and the importance of knowing CPR and first aid and all that. Because you just don't never know when it could happen to someone. And I have to admit to Myles, I probably need to lose about 35 pounds, and heart disease runs in my family. So I probably need to get myself back playing basketball and some kind of exercise again too, and keep up my first aid CPR training as well.
Of course. Yeah, we always say, it's like sports, it kind of brings people together. Um, I know a lot of people are like try to make enemies with the other team, but at the end of the day, we're all family, we're all human, and we're all susceptible to um, dying one day. So we all just got to come together and be there for each other, no matter what it is. So sports just bringing people together and in this kind of way in a positive light is really important.
And that leads to my next question I wanted to ask you, Myles. Do you still keep in touch with the referee John from time to time to see how he's doing?
Yeah, so I've been able to talk to him a couple times just on the phone, and we're actually going to meet in 2 days. I'm going to go back out there and meet him. So that's going to be a really cool experience. Kind of, it'll probably get emotional for everyone there, but I think it's really cool to just go back and out and reconnect. Just that we live so far away from each other and had never met before. Uh, he dropped down on the floor and I started doing CPR on him. So it'll be cool to reconnect with him.
I hope you maybe are able to take some pictures and share them on your Instagram page too.
Yeah. So actually, CBS is doing a story on it. So they'll have camera crews and everything. They'll be making a story about it. So I will get the information of when it's going to air out to you, and you can
Okay.
probably put it out to your listeners.
Yes, CBS, like the national CBS or a
Yes.
local affiliate?
Yep.
National CBS.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome, Myles. And you know what? We need more stories like yours and John's. Not what we wanted to happen to John,
Right.
obviously,
Yeah. I know what you
but
mean.
there's so much negativity in the news, and when somebody does something positive like you help save somebody's life, it's nice to have those kind of stories out there.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that I'm able to influence the news and kind of have a positive light in the news as well. Just because every time you turn it on, it always seems like there's some kind of death or destruction or fear going around. So to be able to bring like a little bit of shining light in the national world is an achievement for me.
So we're still on audio. It's just the Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi signal is normally good, but tonight it just seems to be a little weak. But hopefully we can get through this. But yeah, no, this is a great story to share, and it just shows you the importance again of first aid, CPR, and how this event is probably going to change John's life as well as yours. And like you said, I really appreciate you coming on here tonight and talking about it.
Of course, yeah. I'll be happy to talk to anyone anytime about it. Just being able to spread this message out to the world in the best light possible. I feel like it's kind of a mission of mine now.
Yeah, because my podcast is broadcast live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And then after each podcast, I download it to Apple, Google, Spotify, and Anchor FM, and people all across the world can to listen to my podcast as well. It's just this technology is amazing as well.
Yeah, even since I was in high school, like how technology has progressed since then, it's kind of amazing. It's moving at an exponential
Yep.
rate.
Definitely. So yeah, you'll have to give me updates on, or send me a link to the CBS story because I really definitely want to watch this, and I'll definitely like to share it on my podcast too with your meeting with John.
Yeah, I'll when I get the information of when it'll air and if they ever make a link for it, I'll send everything your way.
Definitely. Are you still okay for a few more questions?
Yeah, whatever you got for me, send them my way.
Okay, this one I wanted to ask you. Can you just tell us about your full-time job as a firefighter in the city of Toledo? And what is it? I shouldn't say normal day because every day is different, but
Mhm.
what is a typical day, night like as a firefighter?
Yeah. So first of all, we work 24-hour shifts, and then we get 48 hours off in between shifts. Um, so we work 7 a.m. to say at 7 a.m. So when I go in the morning, um, I take over from someone's spot on the whatever rig I'm riding. I do my walkthrough of all the supplies and bags in the rig and just make sure everything is okay and how it needs to be and ready for the day. Um, and this whole time you're in service, so you could catch a run
How
at
many
any time.
rigs? How many? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead. That was a Wi-Fi cut now. That was on
Okay.
me. Sorry.
Okay. Um, yeah. So you just get ready for the day, and this whole time you're in service. So if anyone calls it at that time, you just gotta kind of stop what you're doing, pack up, and go. So it can make anything that we do in the house a little hard. Cooking, cleaning, um, anything like that. But during a typical day, we just wait in a station. We cook our own meals, so we got to make a trip to the store and get supplies for that. Um, and then depending on how busy the day is or not, we could either be in the station all day or we could be out on the street all day. It just kind of depends um, what kind of the status of the city is.
Okay. How many rigs and how many stations are in the city of Toledo?
The city of Toledo has 18 stations. Each station has an engine, and then some stations will have ambulances, um, and then we have 3 trucks in the city, which are those uh, like big. They kind of look like engines, but they have the ladders on top. And then we have 2 heavy rescue units. Um, so depending on what the situation is, if we need to remove someone from the car, which we call an extrication, or traffic accidents, or anything medical, fires, obviously, any random rescues we need to make. They we respond to all incidents, so uh, we're prepared to deal with basically any problem that the city has.
Now I'm going to ask you another question. How many guys are on per shift on a 24-hour shift for your station?
I think in my station, we have a heavy rescue and an engine, so we have 7 total guys. Um, Overall in the city, I think we staff minimum staffing per shift is I think 115 people.
Wow. What's
Yeah.
the population of Toledo, if you don't mind me asking?
Um, Honestly, I'm not sure on that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to come to Toledo for a sporting event. And it would be nice to meet you and Freddie and Dave as well as Chris, because I've met enough guys off the Glass City teams. Now it's like I really want to come down and have a beer with Freddie and you guys and talk sports with you and what are you doing about the firefighting thing? I think is so awesome, and people don't realize how much work there is. It's not just old glamour and stuff like that either.
hmm Yeah, we deal with everything. So the good, the bad and the ugly. But a lot of the public doesn't see most of it. So you can't blame them for not knowing exactly what we do. But we're there just to take care of the community and make sure everything's okay and everyone's safe.
Now, when you're off duty, are you still on call if they need you?
No, I'm not on call if I'm off duty. If you're off, you're off. There are
Okay.
volunteer stations that will have people on call, but Toledo's a full-time career fire department, so you only need to worry about your 24-hour shift.
Shift. Now, how many in a row do you work before you're off? Like, how does that work?
So we work three weeks. So I think it's 7 tours, 7 24-hour shifts. Then we get a what's known as a Kelly day. So basically every 3 weeks, every week we work about 48 hours, 2 shifts. So if you add 3 weeks up, um, and take the extra 8 hours from the normal 40-hour week from that, it equals 24. So instead of paying us overtime for the 24 hours, we get a what's known as a Kelly day, and it's basically a shift off.
As here we call them in Canada, loo days, where you get paid for not working instead
Yeah,
of overtime. Yeah, loo days.
right.
So Kelly
Yeah.
days. Okay, okay.
Yep.
I was gonna say, what do you enjoy the most about being a firefighter in Toledo, and what are some of the hard aspects of the career?
I think my favorite part of just being a firefighter in Toledo is being able to get out into the community where I grew up and like have a positive influence and help people. Also, just the job is unlike any other. Between like the schedule, what you get to do on a daily basis, like you're not just stuck in a building all day. You're out running around. You could be dealing with. You never know what you're going to be dealing with every day. So it's always an adventure every day.
Now, in your career so far, have you had any major big fires so far, or nothing too major yet?
Yeah. So recently, there's been a few apartment fires that have been pretty big. Toledo actually has quite a few fires, so it keeps the fire side of us happy. It's not all just medical runs.
And I was gonna say, here with medicals, are you guys the same with in Canada too? If there's a medical call, you guys respond right away, or do you guys let the paramedics and police get there first?
Just it depends on the call if we're gonna let police get there first, but a majority of the medical situations respond first. Like we are the first responders, so um, we're gonna get there first before anyone else can get there. And also, the city of Toledo does staff their own ambulances, so we don't need to rely on anyone else for that.
Have you been hurt? Has anybody you worked with or yourself been injured on duty so far?
Yeah, I mean, injuries happen all the time. It's part of the job. I myself have not been injured, but um, yeah, it's a rough job and taxing on the body. So injuries are not uncommon.
I was gonna say, I hope they do give you some vacation time as well. Are you able to take some time off during the year?
Yeah, so we get I think 10 vacation days to use sporadically throughout the year. So yeah, we get a decent amount of vacation time to get away from the job and kind of get your mind back, uh, and then be able to recover and get back to the job and be able to do a good job with not dragging your feet from being on the job too long.
Because I was gonna say, just like with police and paramedics, you guys sometimes see horrible things, and sometimes, and it's important to have a, what I was the word I'm looking for is to have a strong support system
Mhm.
when you're off duty, and kind of have somebody to bounce stuff off with, because you guys probably see some stuff too that is like kind of hard for you guys to deal with as well.
Yeah, I think a good support system is crucial, along with just having a passion or a hobby, something you can kind of just sink into and forget about the world. For me, it was basketball. So I was like, when I'm on court, it's like I'm just on the court. Nothing else in the world really
Nothing
matters.
matters. It's like my friend here, Gar. He's a frontline paramedic supervisor, but he also does photography when he's off duty. He likes to take photos of sports events and stuff around town, and that's his way of getting away from being a paramedic. Because I think any kind of first line job, police, fire, paramedics, whatever, you do need some kind of support system and need something, a hobby or some kind of other entrance to kind of get away from the job itself, which can be difficult at times.
Yeah. Um, if you're not able to help yourself and be in a good mental state, you're not going to be able to help
Help
others.
somebody
So
else.
um, that's a big key to this job is just to take care of your mental.
Absolutely. And you're also my first firefighter on my podcast as well. So
Oh,
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's awesome. Yeah. Because like I said, it's a sports podcast, but I'm also trying to branch out and to get people in from other professions and careers to come on here because I'm always learning something new from my guests as well.
Yeah. Um, I like learning. So any way I can like branch out and talk to someone about something I don't know, I love to do that. So I'm glad to see you're doing that.
Thank you. And I just got a couple quick questions for you. This one I wanted to ask you: where's your favorite place to travel, and what are some of your favorite restaurants in the Toledo area? If I have to come up in the fall and the winter time.
All right. I think my new favorite place to travel, I went in January for my birthday. Uh, I went to Zion's National Park um, and went hiking out there, and it was so beautiful out there. I definitely want to go back, but I think that's my favorite place to travel. And my favorite restaurant in Toledo, I think it's a Chinese restaurant. It's called QQ's Kitchen. Um, you'll have to check that out. They also have a local um, kind of like hot dog place. It's called Tony Paco's. They
I've
got
heard of I've
they got
heard of it. I've
yeah,
heard
they
of
got
it.
really good pickles too. Um, so yeah, if you ever come to Toledo, you're gonna have to check those places out.
By the way, I had to bring up that Tony Pockles. I found that out for a TV show years ago called MASH. One of
Hmm.
their characters, Jamie Farr Klinger, is from Toledo, and he brought some of his Toledo stuff to his character with the Mud Hands hat, the jersey, and the food too.
Yeah, it's really cool if you go. They have three different restaurants in Toledo, but if you go to the original one, they have like a whole like wall of buns that are signed by like famous people who have ate there. So that's a really cool thing that they have going on.
Okay, definitely, yeah. Because when I watch MASH and that character Jamie Farr Klinger is like, okay, there's Mr. Toledo, and that's yeah. So definitely gonna have to try that. Now, are you a beer drinker
No, not
or
really.
no?
I don't really drink alcohol. Um,
No,
so
no, that's okay too. I have the odd beer, but when I do have the odd beer, when I go to another city, I don't really want the corporate stuff. I just kind of like the local stuff. I like to
yeah,
support small businesses.
yeah. I think I've seen some local ones. I think it's like Mommy Bay Brewing Company they have, and then I think Ernest Brewing. You have a few breweries around Toledo, so you'll have to check those out
Okay.
too.
Cool. One thing about the States, I noticed your prices have gone up just like over here in Canada, but you guys get so much more choice and stuff. And in the grocery stores, man, don't ever go to a grocery store hungry because when I do in the States, I'm like, I end up buying double what I'm going to go in and get.
Yeah, it's almost like a trap. They set you up for failure, especially if you're hungry.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and then there's like 50 million types of ice cream. I don't eat that stuff anymore, but I look at it I'm like, oh my God, it's like, I would have to go to a gym 7 days a week if I lived in the States.
Yeah, right. What
Def
started doing recently, before I even go to the store, I write down exactly what I need, and I got a little checklist, and I don't deviate from it at all.
That's actually smart. That's actually a smart idea. Now, I'm just going to wrap this up with this question. You mentioned the Cleveland Cavaliers. Any other favorite sports to follow, and any coaches you might admire? And do you have a particular favorite athlete, maybe?
Um, I like watching the Kansas Jayhawks. I've been a fan since I was like 10 years old. But Bill Self, I really like his coaching style and how he runs his and operates his team. Um, so I guess that kind of growing up.
You had a favorite sports memory?
Uh, yeah. So actually, in high school, we were in our district final tournament and went to triple overtime. And it's running down to like the last few seconds. So I ended up with the ball in my hands, ended up making like the last second shot and winning the game. And that's something I'll never forget because it was triple overtime in like the district finals versus one of our rival schools. It was just a big moment.
Is that on YouTube by any chance?
Um, I think it might be. If it is, I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
Yeah, definitely. That's so cool. And that's everybody talks about the negative about technology, but there's a lot of positives like doing this podcasting, and then you can find stuff from years ago that you never thought you'd see again on YouTube as well. Social media can be a very good tool as well.
Yes, I think it's just all about how you use it and what it's used for.
Absolutely. And this leads to my last question, Miles. Any advice for those who are watching or later on listening to this podcast, looking to pursue a career as a firefighter, police officer, paramedic, and maybe want to pursue a career as a basketball player? And where can my audience find you on social media? I know you're on Instagram, but I'm not sure if you're on any of the other platforms.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're looking to pursue a career as a firefighter, I would just go out to the stations or you want to apply to and see what they need for their qualifications. I know a lot of different departments have different qualifications. So I'll look at that first and then try and meet those qualifications and stay on a straight path. Don't get in trouble. Try and be around the right people and um, work on your um, physique and conditioning. It can be a physical job, so yeah, that's never gonna hurt you. As for basketball players, I'll say just stay your path, stay in the gym, practice every day, practice game-like shots, game-like situations, learn the game, watch film, um, learn and defense is one of the biggest parts of basketball too. So if you can be a great defensive player, you'll make it very far playing basketball. On social media, it's actually funny. After this situation, I originally didn't have any social media, but after this had happened, my team convinced me to get some social media. So I only have an Instagram at this moment, but I think my username is Miles MC44.
Okay, definitely. And I noticed you follow me today. So thank you so much. And I post a lot of stuff on there, but a lot of it's sports stuff and my podcast stuff and that as well. And it's great because you can keep in touch with people on there as well.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. Like a lot of people weren't able to get in touch with me because I didn't have social media. Which I mean, it's a good and a bad thing. But now people are able to get in touch with me, and I've actually been able to get out and do a lot more things and meet more people. Um,
Yeah, and I was
yeah,
gonna say it's funny. I still get emails, but most of my messages or responses come from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Then I do get email.
yeah, right. Uh,
Definitely. Hey, I was good before I let you go. Do you guys have you spoke about fitness and I obviously. Do you guys have gym facilities inside the stations for you guys to work out?
yeah, every station has a gym. Some stations' gyms are nicer than others, but they all have at least the bare essentials to get a good workout in. And then most of the stations have a basketball rim too, so I like having that there in the station.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. And I did play a little basketball in high school, but I was a point guard and I was a bench player. But you know what? I still loved playing the game, and I didn't mind coming off the bench and hitting a 3-point shot once in a while.
Of course, yeah, everyone on the team is essential and plays their part. So,
Yeah,
um,
that was back in 88, 89. So a long time ago. And I was in much better shape back then. Because when I was younger, I played sports and I was very active. And then when you get older, you get busy working full
mhm.
time. And I'm not making excuses. I need to get back into doing sports again and being more active because, like I said, your body is like a car. If you neglect it over time, eventually you're going to pay the price.
Yeah, right. Better just to keep up on it throughout the years than have to pay a big price when something breaks.
And I was gonna say, do you guys use American Red Cross for your training, or do you use another provider over there?
I think for our CPR training, we do it through American Heart Association,
Okay.
but I know Red Cross does have a program down here as well.
Yeah, I do my training through the Canadian Red Cross, which is like the American Red Cross, obviously. So, and it just shows you the importance of having first aid in CPR. Hopefully, never have to do it, but you just never say never. And it could even
Yeah,
happen in your own house,
yeah, you
too.
never know who, what, where, when. You just knowing the steps of what to do is will prepare you for any of that.
Definitely. Hey, when I get some podcast shirts made up again, I will definitely have to send you one of my podcast shirts.
Okay, yeah, I'll rock one and send you some pictures with it on.
Definitely. Miles, again, I want to say thank you so much for coming on live with CDP Sports Podcast, Season 4, Episode 17. And let me know how things go on. What day is this again? You're meeting John with
It's
CBS News?
the 7th, so Sunday.
Sunday. Okay. Let me know how it goes, and I'd love to be able to see a video footage or a link of it.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me, Chris. And if I get those links and know when it's going to be airing on CBS, I'll send it your way so you can get it out to everyone.
Okay, and just give me about 20 minutes, and I will send you a link to the audio version of this podcast on your Instagram page. And also, I'll send you a link to my YouTube channel as well if you want to rewatch this on YouTube as well.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miles. And again, thumbs up for what you did for John. And it was a pleasure having you on my podcast today. And I would love to have you on again as a guest in the future as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Thanks for having me. It was a great time.
Thanks, Miles. Have a good night, and we'll keep in touch with you on social media.
All right. Take care, Chris.
You too. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my podcast tonight with Myles Copeland. He is a center with the Basketball League's Toledo Glass City, where it's number 9. And he's also a full time firefighter for the city of Toledo. And he also saved a referee's life back in June during a playoff game as well. And just shows you how important having first aid CPR is, even if you're a firefighter, police officer, or a paramedic, or even if you're just a citizen as well. So, thumbs up to Myles Copeland for saving the referee John Scully's life. And it's awesome that he's found himself a career that he has a passion for in firefighting as well. So, I hope you guys can check him out on his Instagram page. Later on, I will give you that if you would let Instagram as well. And also, guys, just to let you know, the next live with CDP Sports Podcast is going to be Friday, August 5th, tomorrow at 4 o'clock. My guest is going to be Lindsay Harley Cadets. She's a team health and brand performance consultant for companies. And she's also the host of her own podcast show, Businesses Are People Too. She is from Alberta. I can speak. She's from the Calgary, Alberta area as well. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Lindsay about her career. She's made some career changes, and she's a podcast host like myself as well. So I hope you guys can tune in for that season 4, episode 18 tomorrow with Lindsay Harley Cadets. Again, a team health brand performance consultant and a host of her own podcast show as well. Guys, just also to let you know, this weekend my Detroit Tigers are going to be retiring Sweet Lou Whitaker's number one on Saturday. The Tigers will immortalize one of their all-time greats in franchise history Saturday night at 6 o'clock against Tampa Bay, as his number one jersey will be retired. Lou Whitaker is one of the greatest Tigers second basemen of all time. Played for the Tigers from 1977 to 1995. Played over 2,300 games at second base and 1,968 games alongside Hall of Famer Alan Trammell. Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker are the longest second base shortstop combination in the history of the game, and it's long overdue that the Detroit Tigers finally retire his number one at Comerica Park. And hopefully, Major League Baseball's Veterans Committee will finally get their act together and introduce Lou Whitaker into the Hall of Fame soon. He has better WAR numbers than guys like Alomar, Ryan Sandberg, Roberto Alomar, Craig Biggio. I think his WAR numbers are even higher than Derek Jeter's. But Lou Whitaker should have been in the Hall of Fame many years ago, but because he didn't play in Boston, New York, or LA, people didn't realize how good he was. 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glover, 1978 All-Star Rookie of the Year. He had 276, 277 batting average, 244 home runs for a second baseman, and over 1,089 RBIs as well. And one of the greatest of all times. And I think he had 2,369 hits as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Lou Whitaker's number one being retired Saturday night at Comerica Park in Detroit. And I will be at the Guelph Royals London Majors game, and I'm going to be doing a live interview after that game at Exhibition Park, our Hastings Stadiums here in Guelph, with one of the London Majors players. So stay tuned for that as well. And also, guys, check out the PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Fly Eagles Fly. And the Birds open up the preseason against the Jets on Friday night, August 12th at 7:30 at the Link. And I'm hoping to get somebody on from the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll talk a little Eagles football. And they're going to be in Detroit on September 11th at Ford Field against the Detroit Lions as well. And again, guys, the other day, Vince Scully passed away on August 2nd at the age of 94. He was best known for 67 years calling games for Major League Baseball's Brooklyn Dodgers / Los Angeles Dodgers, and also the NBC's Game of the Week on NBC. And he also did some golf and football, NFL and golf with CBS from 1975 to 1982, and he also 82, and he also called the NFC Championship game in '82 with Dwight Clark's catch against the Dallas Cowboys, which led the Niners into their dynasty, winning their 4 Super Bowls in the '80s as well. So rest in peace, Vince Scully. To me, he's the greatest of all time, and he's the last of the old era. With him passing away, and yeah, he is the voice of Dodgers baseball. And when somebody says it's time for Dodgers baseball, you'll remember the name Vin Scully. So, and guys, just to let you know, like I do with all my podcasts, Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is downloaded to Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn. And I want to say thank you to everybody watching this live on my YouTube channel. Please hit subscribe, and thank you to everybody on Facebook watching this and on my Twitter page. And if you'd like to follow me at Chris D. Pame as well. So again, and also, guys, just to let you know, you guys can also follow me on TikTok at Live with CDP. That's on TikTok at Live with CDP. I post a lot of video content there as well for my podcast show. And if you guys want to check out my latest blog, Argos Ottawa game I covered last Sunday at BMO Field in Toronto, thanks to the Toronto Argonauts and their manager of media relations, Chris Belnovich. You can check out the website at wordpress.com/home/live with CDP podcast.wordpress.com as well. And again, I want to say thank you to my guest tonight, Myles Copeland, a center with Basketball League's Toledo Glass City and a full-time firefighter in the city of Toledo, for coming on season 4, episode 17 of Live with CDP Sports Podcast. And again, I hope you guys can listen to this later on my audio platforms as well. And you guys can check out their website, Toledo Glass City, BC.net/. And if you want to check out the league that he played in the basketballleague.net, and they have a 10-year new arrangement with the National Basketball League of Canada as well. And I think the partnership is going to be great between both of them as well. And that's pretty well it, guys. Again, I want to say thanks to Myles Copeland for coming on. And my next Live with CDP podcast is going to be Friday, August 5th, 4 o'clock Eastern, with my guest, Lindsay Harley Cadets, team health and brand performance consultant, and the host of her own podcast show, Businesses Are People Too. So I hope you guys can tune in to season 4, episode 18 tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern, which will be 2 o'clock Alberta time, where Lindsay is located. So again, everybody, thank you for watching and listening to Live with CDP Sports Podcast. And thanks again for Myles Copeland, my guest tonight, for coming on. So I hope you guys all have a great night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock for another edition of Live with CDP Podcast. Go Tigers.
Live.